In a pulsating final round, India's Anirban Lahiri produced a 3 under 69 to come second to winner Cameron Smith of Australia in the Players' Championship at the TPC Sawgrass on Monday. Anirban may have missed the trophy by just a stroke, but his fine effort ensured a staggering prize money of $2.18 million, which is equivalent to 16.65 crores. Lahiri's fabulous finish in the $20 million PGA Tour event meant he bagged the biggest paycheck by an Indian sportsperson till date. Hello and welcome to this News 9 special. I am your host Atishay, and to discuss more on Lahiri's stunning display in Florida, I have with me News 9's golf analyst Rohit Bharadwaj, 1982 Asian Games gold medalist Rishi Narayan joins us, and also I have with me PGTI board member and pro golfer Amandeep Joel. So Rishi, I'm going to start with you. How would you rate Anirban's performance at the Players' Championship? After coming so close, did you at any time expect Anirban to win the event?
So Atishay, it was just an amazing performance because the Players' Championship is like one of the Grand Slam events. It's like the fifth major in golf, and the field was, packed with all the top players. The course is extremely demanding, and the conditions were so tough over 4 days. They had wet weather, they had cold weather, they had windy weather. So he, was able to keep it going, throughout, and did an amazing job. It definitely looked like he was playing to win. He wasn't playing for second place. He wanted to win. And he came just a few rolls, one stroke off the lead at the end. He could have won. He was going for the win. There's no doubt about it.
Well, definitely Lahiri came agonizingly close to creating history, I would say, at the TPC Sawgrass event, Rohit. So Rohit, my question to you would be, as someone who has followed the rise of Anirban Lahiri very closely, how do you rate his performance there? And I heard, just now Rishi mentioned about how big a role the weather plays in a sport like golf. So can you just elaborate on it a bit more?
Yeah, it's a huge achievement for somebody like Lahiri to actually somehow finish second. Like after that bogey on the 8th, the way he made a comeback, and also a birdie on the 17th hole in such a pressure kind of situation, it was such a huge relief for to see Lahiri actually coming up so close. Like it was a delicate performance, like by Lahiri, because there were showers also during the final round, and it was very difficult to shoot such a low score during those moments. Lahiri actually stood firm at those moments.
Well, definitely it was a terrific performance. Now, Amandeep, my question to you would be, with this result, Anirban moves inside the top 100 of world rankings. How do you rate this performance, and how significant is this achievement? I think we have just lost Amandeep. So Rishi, I'll throw that question to you. How significant is this achievement now that Anirban Lahiri has moved to the top 100 in world rankings?
Yeah, so, top 100 in the world rankings is great, but I think a couple of things. One is that, every year a player on the PGA Tour has to earn approximately $1 million to keep his playing rights for the next year, right? And the last few years, Anirban has been under pressure right till the end of the season to make that cutoff and be able to keep his playing rights for the PGA Tour. With this performance, he's already assured of his, playing rights for next year. So he's got the whole year ahead of him, which he can play without pressure. He can plan his schedule, play the tournaments he wants to, the courses he likes. So that means a lot to him. Second thing, this is the year of a President's Cup. So President's Cup is rest of the world outside Europe versus the American team. And this ranking in the top 100, as well as his performance in the players, will really boost his chances to get selected for the President's Cup team. So these are the two, I think, significant things that come out of this event.
Also, if I add to that, I think Masters invite, he might get a Masters invite from Augusta National. Do you think so? Like that might be one of the big Phillips.
Yeah. Amandeep, I think there's a very good chance that he will.
Amandeep, if you were to add something on this?
According to my information, I think the biggest thing for Anirban, like Rishi said, was that now he's secured his card pretty much for the 2023 season. Apart from that, I think he's going to be invited to all the majors this year. So he secures his invite for all the majors. The top 4, if I'm not mistaken, at the Players' Championship are invited to all majors. So this year the majors obviously the Masters and the British Open is now this year being played at the St Andrews, golf course, St Andrews. So it is a big year for the British Open. So I think this is phenomenal. In my opinion, I think Anirban played phenomenal golf over 4 days, not taking nothing away from the winner. I think he got lucky. Anirban didn't give away the tournament. The other guy won it. I mean, the Aussie guy won the tournament, and Anirban didn't lose the tournament. That's a big thing. He stuck out there. He played great golf, shooting a 69 on the last day. Hats off. I think great day for Indian golf. And like I said in my tweets, I think it's bigger things are going to come for Anirban and for Indian golf. I'm very hopeful.
Especially when he is the lone flag bearer at the PGA Tour. Don't you agree more, Amandeep and Rishi, if you...
Well, I think it's we are going to have a few great youngsters coming in who are going to follow suit. Like Jeev did it about 15 years ago. He gave players from India that confidence that all of us can compete at the highest level. Then Arjun Atwal winning the Wyndham Championship way back, also gave that boost. Daniel Chopra, we always consider him our own. He's won twice on the PGA Tour, So Anirban Lahiri at the majors, I mean, the Players Championship is considered a major championship as far as golf is concerned. It's considered the 5th major. And to be there, to play at the Players Championship and play 4 days, I don't think after the 2 days lead, even the commentators, they didn't even think that he's going to, hold his ground and perform the way he did. Phenomenal. I think the last 2 shots on the 17th, whether on the 3rd round and the final round, shows your mettle. I mean, shows how strong mentally you are. And, the stadium finish at that golf course is very, very intimidating. So Anirban hung in there, showed what he's made of, and very, very proud of him.
That eagle on the 11th, if you want to add, just after the 8th, he birdied the 9th and came back on the 11th with a eagle. Would you like to say something on that?
I actually missed that. I think I dozed off last night when I was watching that. So I probably will watch the replay. But, I think after the 8th double, and then he continued playing great golf for the next few holes, hung in there. And then 16 was great, even after a bad errant tee shot. 17th, obviously, the greatest birdie. I thought that shot was 10 on 10. He played it exactly where he had to, and just did what was required on that hole.
Also, gentlemen, one question which I have in my mind is, Anirban Lahiri was not in the best of forms going into this tournament. He didn't have the best of form in the Tokyo Olympics also. So now to come back and now to create a sort of script, a history in Florida, how big an achievement is that? And moving forward, how will it boost his confidence for the rest of the season? Rishi?
Yeah, so obviously to be able to play those shots under that much pressure, and the TPC, the course that they play at, is extremely demanding, and there's all kinds of pressure on every shot. The whole game can run away from you at any time. So he was able to hit a lot of greens in regulation, a lot more than the last couple of weeks. He's been trying to work on his approach shots. That was his weakness earlier. So for him to get into this positive positive frame of mind will be a huge confidence booster going forward. And it just shows that even despite all his setbacks over the last couple of years, he was able to keep it all together and not get intimidated under pressure coming down the stretch. And it's the richest tournament in the history of professional golf. I mean, that's what he was playing, right? The winner got over $3 million. And, even the chip he hit on 18, it just shows nerves of steel, because he was on a tight lie, chipping downhill. The water's on the other side of the pin. If he catches it, slightly mishits it, it can go in the water on the other side of the pin very, very easily. But he had a nice, smooth chip. He hit it with so much finesse. I mean, it just showed real nerves of steel. And this is going to be a huge confidence booster for him going forward, no doubt
Yeah,
about it.
two guys went into the water, if you remember, Rishi. Keegan Bradley went into the water from the trees, and also Cameron Smith. Like it was amazing how Anirban held off, and especially I suppose the meditation he does and the Vipassana yoga that he entered into some years back is obviously bearing fruit. He spoke about this at the post event conference also. Can we hear Lahiri's bite in that case when he speaks about his comeback?
Go ahead.
I've gone through 2 years of playing horrible, and I've the last time I contended in a field this good was Memorial, maybe 5 years ago, or even that was a backdoor second. I shot 7 under on Sunday, but I never really contended till maybe Valhalla. I mean, it's been a long time since I've been in this position and since I've played like this, in that position, in a quality field like this. So it's huge because, when you go through such a lean period for such a long time, you start asking yourself, man, was that a flash in the pan? What are you doing? You haven't played good in so long. And your belief takes a hit. So this, for me, is, I'm going to re-cement the foundation and work upwards from here.
How are you?
Also, Amandeep, my next question to you would be, could you shed some light on the prize money Anirban won with regards to other sports in the country? As in, he had the biggest payday for any Indian sports person till date. In a country where cricket is so dominant, how significant is this performance and achievement by Lahiri?
Okay, is that question for me?
Yeah.
Okay, it's it's very difficult to answer that question. Yes, of course, it is the biggest prize money ever won by an Indian professional sportsman, $2.1 million. Let's give you a little comparison. The whole of the Indian PGTI Tour is less than his prize money in one tournament. So that's the comparison. So it's really, I think the corporates in India need to pull up their socks. If they feel that they need to back Indian sports people, it's been a joke far too long. We've been looking at government support. The government does support, but I think at the end of the day, it has to be corporates who support Indian sports. They are, I think worldwide we must be having at least 25 to 30 CEOs who head great multi-million, if not billion-dollar industries. And I think if they put their attention towards promoting Indian sport, or somehow just a small percentage, giving it back to Indian sport, I think that will go in a long way to make sure that our Indian sportsmen do better and better on the world scene. We've got heads of PepsiCo, MasterCard, you name it, the companies worldwide are all, headed by Indian CEOs. Look at, there are millions, hundreds of them. So I think that's where they need to consider their responsibility, that they need to channelize some energy or finances towards growing Indian sport. And golf is one sport where all of them, play that sport. So I think when Anirban and the players like this perform so well on the world stage, the attention does shift to, how well we can do if we are given the right atmosphere.
Rishi,
so I think it's going to do great.
If you can add to this, because you carried a story about badminton players also winning prize money. If you remember, Kidambi Shrikant winning 4 titles in a row in 2017, 2018, and Anirban had just done a tied 5th finish at the PGA Championship some time back. So, if the comparison was there was such a huge gap between the prize money being won in golf and in other sports. We also ran a comparison with the IPL players. Like 17 crore has been the highest prize money that went to an IPL player this
Last
year.
year it was Virat Kohli, and this time it was KL
Rahul. Like, it's so interesting, and this guy goes on to win 16.65, 17 crores for an entire season, and vis-a-vis 16.5 crores for just 5 days. Like, how do you compare the two?
Yeah, Rohit, it's very interesting. But in golf, the difference is that uh, you are paying all your expenses, you're taking all your risks on your own. There's nobody, no team looking out for your costs. The player pays for his own coach, player pays his own travel, his own hotel, for his own physio. Everything is paid for by the player, right?
Right.
And players go through a lot of lean times as well. I mean, Anirban has been a pro now for since what, about 2008. So he's achieved this after 14 years as a professional. And there's so many other sportsmen who have to struggle, and you never know when this kind of a form is going to come. I mean, Anirban was lucky in a way that he struck form in the correct week, which is the richest week in the history of professional golf. Okay, if he had played this well, let's say on a European Tour event week, he could have won it, or he could have won an Asian Tour event, he would have earned a fraction of this amount. So, of course, you have to be very patient. You have to just plug along. You have to do the job that you're supposed to do. And in some cases, you just hit the right form at the right time. And, it's very fortunate that Anirban struck this rich vein in form. I mean, his putting this week was sublime. At the end of the third round, I heard the commentators say that he had made 16 consecutive putts under 12 feet. I mean, he had not missed a putt under 12 feet in the first 54 holes. Now, that is just unbelievable. Really? But when you putt that well, that's what sets you apart and gets you to the top of the leaderboard. And, that putting form may not be there next week. I mean, Anirban could very well miss the cut next week, right? That's not taking anything away from him. I'm just trying to explain that in golf, your form fluctuates very, very sharply week to week and month to month, which doesn't happen in other sports. I mean, you can't expect, Usain Bolt to run 2 consecutive 100 meters in consecutive weeks and, run the second week half a second slower than the previous week, right? The difference is going to be very minuscule. He's not going to finish 10th in the second week and after winning the first week. But in golf, you could win one week and miss the cut the next week. So, although it's an amazing amount of money, and I'm so glad because this enables Anirban to just plan his future. I mean, he's now set for the next couple of years, at least financially. He's set up base in Florida. It's expensive. He's bought a home. He has his family there. It's all expensive, right? The players have to pay for all this themselves. They're traveling every week. It costs them $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a week to be playing. So when you play 30 weeks a year, your direct expenses of traveling and playing is something like $150,000 a year, wow. Right? So you have to keep all these things in mind and see the risk that the players take when they're out there. And this is the reward for their patience, their hard work, and of course, the talent that they have and the self-belief. Ultimately, it's all in your mind, right? And Anirban has shown that he has the self-belief. And as Amandeep said, that this kind of success is great because a lot of other Indian youngsters will start believing that they too can achieve this level of success. Like Jeev and others set the ball rolling 15, 20 years ago. Now Anirban has set a new benchmark. Shubhankar Sharma, a few weeks ago finished second in Abu Dhabi, won 600,000 euro in 1 week, which was a huge amount of money as well, right? But this is just taking it to a different level. And I think there's so much talent in India. Like Amandeep was saying, there's a huge number of talented young players, and given the right opportunities and support, they can also get this far. But it's super tough. I mean, it's super competitive. And now, the players all over the world are super athletes that are coming out to play golf. People used to think that golf is for people who are, not such great athletes, but now it's the super athletes that are out there training just like soccer players or basketball players. They train in the gym 2-3 hours a day. They're 6'5". There are guys out there driving the ball 390 yards now. I mean, it's a different ball game, and Indians have to really gear up and work hard because there are thousands of youngsters all over the world who are just working their butts off with the best, of coaching, best of physiotherapy, best of trainers, and we have to give them that support if we expect more people to reach that level.
Well, one thing which stood out for me, gentlemen, is like all of you guys spoke at length about how much pressure Anirban would have been dealing with, especially how badly he performed in the last couple of years, and now in this tournament, as Rishi mentioned, it is one of the it is the richest tournament on the PGA circuit. So now let's listen into what Anirban himself has to say about handling pressure at the TPC Sawgrass.
I'm surprised how calm I was, to be honest. Like I said, I was just happy. I was in a really good frame of mind. Just stuck to my processes and routines. I've done a really good job, I think, over the last few weeks to really work on that. And I got into a really good process rhythm. That's what I've been working on, getting into a good process rhythm. And you know, I just kind of stayed in that all week. I mean, I want to win. I've been here 7 years. Haven't gotten over the line yet. So that's definitely a monkey I want to get off my back. Today was as good an opportunity as any.
Also, Rohit, before we wrap up, I have one last question for you. So, do you think a performance like this will motivate more youngsters to take up golf in India, where it is still seen as, you know, an elite sport?
Yeah. Like lot of Indian Americans are already doing well. Like Akshay Bhatia, he won a Corn Ferry Tour title just a couple of months back. Apart from that, Sahith Thigala, who is another Indian American, he's like on the doors, knocking on the doors to have another victory, shot at victory at the PGA Tour. Aaron Rai, who is working out on the European Tour, he is also very close to having victories in the majors and all. So you have a handful of such Indian Americans and Indian Europeans already playing and doing well. And obviously there is a lot of motivation for youngsters back home. Shubhankar Sharma, as Rishi mentioned, is already there. Then you have the guys like Udyan Mane, who went and appeared in the Olympics. So you have a lot of such guys.
And also Aditi Ashok performed tremendously well.
Yes, Aditi Ashok, we left out Aditi Ashok. She made people take notice of golf during the Olympics, and now the question to somebody like Rishi would be that after Aditi, this is the second time when Anirban being in the lead, he has made people wake up and watch him play, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think what Aditi and Anirban are doing are great. And I'm sure it is going to inspire lots of youngsters to take up the sport in our country.
Well, definitely. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining us, taking some time out from your busy schedule. It was indeed a historic performance from Anirban Lahiri. So no praise can be too high for Anirban Lahiri at the moment after his spectacular and gritty performance at the Players' Championship against the best golfers in the world. He missed the win by a whisker, but made every Indian super proud through his imperious show at the TPC Sawgrass. Well, that's all from us today. If you like this piece of information, do hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe to News 9 across all social media platforms. Thank you so much and take care.